Hello and welcome everybody. Nice to have you guys here on the Play TV. My name is Nick, aka Nixon. I'm hosting a Magic the Gathering video for you guys. Today is the second episode of Pet Decks and we are playing Red Green Ponza, my version, in competitive best of 3 in Historic. Ponza is most famous for its success in Modern actually. The deck tries to skip turn 2 with a 1-mana ramp spell and destroy or disrupt opponent's mana as soon as turn 2, with cards like Blood Moon, Stone Rain or Pillage being 3 CMC. Then it finishes off the opponent with big beefy creatures. The deck dates back to 1998 and was actually mono red originally. A player named Brian Kowal named the deck Ponza Red and it won him the Wisconsin States Tournament, notably with 62 cards main deck, 26 lands and only 14 sideboard cards, because he ran a copy of Grizzly Bears in the meme slot. But why the name Ponza? The name comes from a pizza restaurant in Waukesha, Wisconsin called Jimmy's Grotto, where they served a Ponza Rotta, a deep fried calzone that gave name to this deck for 23 years now. Legend says it's because of the elements crossed lands, meat, creatures, cheese, burn, sauce, land destruction. These are just assumptions. It seems nobody knows exactly how the pizza ingredients translate into elements of a Magic deck. Yeah, such a nice deck with such a nice story as well, and still I couldn't find any approach to make this deck work competitively in Historic Best of 3. So I decided to come up with my own list, and it took me about, let's say, 200 Best of 3s, something like that, to make it work. It was actually pretty hard. Land Destruction in Historic is 4 mana, and don't try the spells like Rubble Reading, these kind of cards, like the other 4 mana Land Destruction spells. They're just bad. They don't add anything to the board. They don't do anything. So the only card that is worth including as a land destruction, there are 2 of it. It's the Goblin Ruin Blaster, which is the real savior of Ponza, and also the Notwald Slumber Mount, which we are going to talk about later. There are a couple big mana approaches running around, so I want to talk about that real quick. So this deck is functional, it works, it's pretty cool to play and also a lot of fun to play, but its win rate would not go over 50-55% maybe, because if the opponent has counter magic, this suddenly becomes really bad, and so it was not suitable for what I was trying to do, to go mythic with it and to compete with all the meta decks. So I'll switch back to the other approach, which is this one. This is more a mid-range approach and approach that can apply a lot of pressure. And basically the game plan is not as in Modern to skip turn 2 and go to turn 3, but it's to skip turn 3 and go to turn 4. So we're playing a ramp package of Llanowar Elves and Paradise Druid, so we can guarantee the Goblin Ruin Blast on turn 3 most of the time, and this is really the goal of the game. If we don't have the Ruin Blaster, we can jam a Questing Beast, Rekindling Phoenix, or even Chandra Torch Defiance. So this ramp package is really solid. Like the Paradise Druid being hexproof is so freaking relevant. So this is really strong, guys. Don't underappreciate and don't underestimate the Paradise Druid, because it secures so you can execute your game plan and jump to turn 4. We're playing 1 copy of a Braid. We don't need that many disruptive tools in the early game, because we have a really fast mid-range plan that we can deploy and be proactive, so we don't have to be as reactive. I think it's very versatile and very good. It's a powerhouse on its own. That's why we're running 2 copies of a Braid in the sideboard as well, but we're going to talk about that later. We're running 2 copies of Scavenging Ooze against the graveyard decks. It's obviously pretty solid. It can be a Grizzly Bear sometimes, but usually not. Even against control, like they destroy your creatures, so you have them in the bin so you can eat them, and this can grow really big, really fast. If you're playing against opposing creature decks and you're busy in the early game removing their creatures, suddenly it's turn 6 and you drop a Scavenging Ooze, eat 4 creatures, you get a 6/6 for life. That's just great. Scavenging Ooze is an all-star. So we're playing 2 copies of Shatterskull Smashing, and this card is really strong in this kind of deck because you have the ramp. So blowing this up for X is 6. It's just game winning and game breaking. This is so very strong, and like the card is strong on its own, it's always strong, but in this specific kind of deck it really shines because you have the ramp to blast it off for a lot of mana. And that's the kind of 2-for-1 that you want in a mid-range deck as well, right? 4 copies of Bonecrusher Giant, as I said, like this is mid-range powerhouse in red. Easy 4 copies. We don't want to run any lower count of Bonecrusher Giant, I don't think. It's versatile in the early game, it can remove stuff. It's a big threat on its own. Check out my take on Bonecrusher Giant. I explained a little bit more in the Is It Midrange video that I made for Pet Decks episode 1. Keep in mind, like, you can count this as a 2-drop as well, and this makes it only 2 other 3-drops apart from the other side of Bonecrusher Giant. So you can really see the gap here, right? So we really rely on jumping from turn 2 to turn 4. So this is why the Paradise Druid also is so important. You play 1 copy of Cloth as God of Destiny. This card is so sweet and I love it. And I already played as many as 3 copies already. But I went down and down and down because it's sometimes so clunky and so slow. In the modern decks of Ponza, they play 3 copies most of the time. And it's there for a reason. But here in Historic, like the format is very fast and it doesn't really line up perfectly. Like especially if you draw the second copy of it, it's kind of clunky sometimes. And so I went down to 1 copy, and 1 copy is perfect. It's really good. Like, don't get me wrong, the card is awesome, but we have a lot of very linear and proactive game plans in Historic already, in the form of Angels, for example. And if they land their 1, 2, 3 perfectly, the Cloth as God of Destiny is not going to do anything because it's way too slow. This really shines in the controlling matchups, or where you have time, where you can ramp with it, where you can like drain the opponent out over time. Cloth is inevitability. On a stick, it's indestructible and it's really hard to deal with, and it kills the opponent over time so good. Also, we have a lot of devotion going on if you haven't recognized it. There are a lot of double casted creatures or double costed creatures here, so you can turn on the Clothis pretty reliably actually in my experience. We run 1 copy of Kiora, Behemoth Beckoner. That's a great planeswalker that is not that obvious. I think I have this take from Gruul Midrange list, Gruul Beast that is running around. I think the dude that made it, or like that came up with it, is like some guy called DZ or something. And DZ had, I think they played 2 copies of Kiora, Behemoth Beckoner, and we played just 1 because the deck was lacking a little bit of card advantage and a little bit of value generating engines. And we play a lot of powerful creatures, so Kiora, Behemoth Beckoner is a really solid one in this deck. Also, don't forget about the synergy with Glorybringer, so you can untap the Glorybringer and swing in for additional damage, taking care of the whole board of all the planeswalkers, all the creatures with the Glorybringer. So this is a great synergy of Kiora as well, and it also ramps you, so don't forget about that as well, because we have the Shatter Skull Smashing, we have a lot of expensive drops here in this deck, so Kiora kind of checks all the boxes for this deck and is a very solid one. Okay, so 4 copies of Goblin Ruin Blaster. I think this is the card that allows us to name this deck Ponza, because it's the only worth it inclusion concerning land destruction in Historic in general. This one's pretty good and it's pretty spicy. You wouldn't guess, like, there's so many basic lands running around. Even the monocolored deck they run monocolored because they can include all the spicy non-basic lands, such as the Snow land that came up recently, the Man land that turns into a 4/3. These kind of shenanigans, and the Goblin Ruin Blasters really takes care of that. Opponent makes your breeding pool a 3/3 with a Nissa. You already have a Questing Beast on the board or a 4-power creature. Then you play the Goblin Ruin Blaster, you eat the land, you have the additional 2 damage to take care of the Nissa. So this card is very strong, and don't underestimate it because it's like the real powerhouse in this deck, and also, as again, the reason the Ponza deck works in Historic. 2 copies of Chandra, Torture Defiance, again, one of my favorite planeswalkers. And also, like, at a rate of 4 mana, I think it's one of the best planeswalkers in Magic in general. I'm not sure about that call, because maybe I don't know all of them, but this one has it all. It has card advantage, it has ramp, it has self-defense, and it has game-winning emblem. So not all of the planeswalkers do that, and Chandra Torture Defiance is a really solid one in this deck as well, because it kind of checks all the boxes, right? We run 2 copies of Rekindling Phoenix, and this one is what made this deck work. Like, I played a version without Rekindling Phoenix, and I don't know why, but this card is so good. It really saved the day. At some point, I was like 100 best of 3s in, or 120, or 150 even. I don't even know anymore. I played so many matches with Ponza decks in the last 1 or 2 weeks that I kind of lost track. But at the point where I included the Rekindling Phoenix, this deck just got straight up way better. Resilient Threat, it's so good against control decks, because they have their cast outs, but they want to use it on the Chandra most of the time, and on the expensive drops, and the Rekindling Phoenix, it comes back all the time after the board wipes. It's good against the Binding of the Old Gods, because it sticks around. You can always almost never kill it because you 2-for-1 the opponent with this card so oftentimes. We run 2 copies of Questing Beast. I heard someone say that this card is bad right now in the format. I strongly disagree because I think this is very relevant. This is one of the best cards in the deck in general, as you take care of their creatures here and there, and then you can swing in and eat a Planeswalker too. So I've seen this card making games possible, and I will not play less than 2 copies of this in this deck. Proceeding to the 5-drop slot, we of course play Glorybringer. This is one of my favorite cards, one of my favorite pets. It shines in this deck. It's so very strong. I get even higher and higher on Glorybringer. Like, the more I play with it, the more I like it. I think the only matchup in Historic right now where it sucks is Blue-White Control, and maybe the Yorion decks it's not so good against. But even there, it's fine because they also play Nissa, and Glorybringer is good against Nissa. It's not good against Teferi, but it's good against Nissa. Or solid against Nissa. It's fine. Let's put it this way. We played 3 copies of Elder Gargaroth, which is another big fat boy that you can drop and that really closes out the game or closes the line. You drop an Elder Gargaroth against an aggro deck, they're gonna cry and scoop. You drop an Elder Gargaroth against Jund Midrange, for example, they don't even have an answer. Like, it's 6 toughness. So oftentimes they have a hard time, like pre-sideboard, right? Post-sideboard they're gonna play Noxious Grasp, but before that happens, Elder Gargaroth is a really hard threat for them to answer, being 5 mana. It doesn't die to a Fatal Push. So these cards are, like, the 5-drop slot is not to be underestimated because it's kind of hard to deal with in a fast format where everybody plays just Fatal Pushes and cheap removal spells, so you can't target those with that. Also the Claim the Firstborn, for example. This deck does not suffer at all. Like, not at all, I wouldn't say, but not that much, right? The only thing they can steal is a Llanowar Elf, Bonecrusher Giant, and the Scavenging Ooze. Alright, that's it, right? Because Paradise Druid is hexproof, all the other threats are 4 mana. Goblin Rune Blaster we don't ever care about. Like, let them steal a Goblin Rune Blaster, like, that's absolutely irrelevant most of the time. And then we have the 4 and 5 drops to finish off the opponent and close out the game. We play 1 copy of Turntimber Symbiosis, and this card is really strong actually because it lets you search, like, it's kind of a tutor or toolbox because we're playing 3 copies of Glorybringer and we play Goblin Ruin Blaster that has haste and also the Questing Beast. So this makes it like 9 haste threats, and sometimes just all you need is a hasty boy to finish and close out the game. And Turntimber Symbiosis really does that job because you reveal a top 7, and it's very likely to find one of those threats that can finish the game for you that way. So the Great Henge is like a really strong value engine that you don't want to underestimate in this sort of deck. I know we can be pretty fast, but also there are some matches where you want to just grind, and with the Great Henge on the board, you rarely lose a grind game. It's like against almost any deck. If they don't have anything game breaking, if it's about value, the Great Henge will solve the problem. This card is so good against the Angels deck. Like, it doesn't seem so because it's very slow in general, but the Angel deck peaks at some point, and if you get past that point and you have a Great Henge on the board and also Kiora, you're gonna win because they can't do anything about this value train. Concerning the land base, we run 3 Stony Mountains, we run 1 Volcano Mountain. So this is a very important card in the deck because it symbolizes land destruction and asserts dominance over the opponent. We're playing 4 Woody Forests, which are pretty cool, and I love the artwork. We're playing 3 copies of Crack Crown Pathway, and this one is really good, but it's actually not as good because we have a lot of double color casted costs. And this is not a real dual land because you have to decide for 1 color and then later you can't change it anymore. So this card is actually better than it seems. Actually worse than it seems. I don't want to say it's bad. It's obviously better than basic lands, but not always, right? Because it also doesn't turn on the Rootbound Crack, which you play a 4 of. We play 1 copy of Notbolt Slumbermound. So this is the second card that makes land destruction work in Historic. This is very, very, very good, actually. And I would really love to play a second copy of the Slumber Mount. But I have the feeling that it slows me down too much. Because, like, we really want to make sure, as I already said, turn 2, push it to turn 4, and land a big hitter and a big critter. And sometimes, if we miss the second turn to drop a Paradise Druid, we go to turn 4 naturally. And we don't want to do that. So Slumber Mount, like, there's so many games where I miss the second copy of Slumber Mount, but we just have to make sure to curve out, and we can only afford to drop a tapped land turn 1 or after turn 5. So in between, we don't have a chance to slot anything in like that. So we playing 2 tapped lands already in form of the Slumber Mount and the Temple of Abandon, which makes a scry possible, which is also something that is pretty good in this deck. But after that, it gets really hard. So sometimes we have Llanowar Elves turn 1, we have a tapped land on turn 2, and then we can still play the Paradise Druid. So then we are safe, but we don't want to exaggerate on tapped lands, although the Notwall Slumber Mount is very strong. So let me know what I should cut to make a second Slumber Mount work, because I don't know anymore. Maybe just a Gargaroth and play a second one of those, or maybe it's 1 copy of Scavenging Ooze that you want to cut. I think this has worked out for me quite well, and so this is why I decided to just run 1 copy, because I value the curve out so highly here in this deck. 4 copies of Rootbound Crag and 4 copies of Stomping Ground I think are self-explanatory. Either red or green, every single turn is really, really important in a deck like this with so restricting mana costs. We run 1 Temple of Abandon, which I already talked about, and 1 copy of Fabled Passage. Reason being that we already have the Clothis. It kind of fixes, it helps us keep some draws. If you have a Clothis on the board, you want a land in the graveyard so you can ramp, and sometimes the ramp is game winning. Maybe the extra mana for a Shatterskull Smashing for 6. Maybe you want to drop a 5-drop and you're missing land drops. And if you have a Clothis and a Fabled Passage, this sometimes can save your back. So proceeding to the sideboard, we're playing 3 copies of Grafdigger's Cage, which is obviously still such a relevant card. If you're playing against goblins, you really want 3 copies of this against Jund Sacrifice. It's so strong against all the Arcanist decks as well. Very necessary. It's not only good, it's kind of necessary also, because they're so fast, and otherwise they're just gonna rip your hand apart with a couple of Thought Seizes, and you're just gonna die a slow but sure death. 2 extra copies of Abrade, especially good against Arcanist, especially good against Jund Sacrifice, basically. This is, against Jund Sacrifice, the Abrade is the strategy that wins you the games. The combination of Grafdigger's Cage and Abrade, also Anger of the Gods, against Jund and the Clothis. So I want to say, Jund Sacrifice is presumably one of the best, or the best. Some people say it's the best deck in the format right now. This specific deck, has a win rate over 90% against Jund Sacrifice. So I played, I think, 10 or 11, and I think I lost just 1 match. So in the fair matchups where we both have a good draw, I think this deck is pretty favored, because it's 3 color, you can destroy their lands, you have so good sideboard tools to take care of their stuff. And also the main deck configuration is already pretty good with the 2 Scoozes. So that being said, we play 1 copy of Fry. This we play because Angels is so dominant right now in the format, and also the Aura decks. Fry deals 5 damage to a white creature, and a Core Spirit Dancer with just 1 aura is mostly a 3/5. So you can, even if they already started to go off, you can still disrupt it with a Fry. And that's very, very important, because otherwise, look at the deck. If the creature has 5 toughness already, you're gonna have a bad time dealing with it. 4 toughness is okay. We play 2 Chandra Torch Defiance, also Glorybringer. But 5 toughness is really hard to deal with. So the Fry is very important against that deck, and also, as I said, against the Angels deck, that you want to disrupt very early so they can't take over the game. Anger of the Gods. I ran more copies of this. I think I ran 3 copies in the beginning. Now I'm down to 1. It gets less and less relevant because Gruul is not so dominant anymore right now, and you want to play this mainly against Gruul aggro. Against the Angels deck, the important threats all have 4 toughness. Against Jund Sacrifice, it's pretty good if they don't have another sacrifice outlet, but you want to definitely board this in against Jund Sacrifice. It's good against Arcanist decks as well, but I think a 1-off is basically fine, and I did not have the feeling that I need more. The Akron War. This card is very important for this kind of deck. The reason being, there are a lot of Phyrexian Obliterator decks out there, and the only way this deck deals with creatures is damage, dealing damage to it, and you cannot kill this card by dealing damage to it because you lose to it. If you deal 5 damage to a Phyrexian Obliterator with this deck, you already lost the game most of the time. Sometimes you can block it with a Questing Beast, deal only 4 to it, and it's gonna die, but against the Phyrexian Obliterator especially, we need the Akron War to take care of it. Also, it's good against opposing aggro decks or opposing mid-range decks where the creatures have a lot of same power as toughness, and this can give you the edge in mirror matchups as well. Also against the aura decks, because you don't want to destroy the creatures really, and you want to just snag them and then finish the game on a counter attack. We play 4 Shifting Ceratops. We have a good matchup against almost everything, but the weakest matchup in game 1, I think, is blue-white control. If we are on the draw, if we're on the play, it's going to be fine. But if we're on the draw against blue-white control, we're going to lose game 1 almost for sure. We're not fast enough, and then they can take care of everything, and then you want to jam a 5-drop. Guess what? They have so much counter magic in their hand that it's not going to matter anymore. So we're playing 4 Shifting Ceratops to replace our mediocre 5-drops here. Also, 2 Chandra Awakened Inferno, because that makes it 6 uncounterable spells, and that's so hard to deal with. Keep in mind that Glorybringer is not that clean of an answer to Teferi, but Shifting Ceratops is. Also Fry, like I just want to say that I don't usually board in Fry against Teferi because they already drew a card and I just fry it down, which is okay. If a Shifting Ceratops it, they can't counter it, it's gonna run through most of the time, maybe gets hit by a Seal Away, but if not, I killed their Teferi with 4 or 5 that is still on the board. So that's a favorable trade for me, even if they drew a card. Alright, Chandra Awakened Inferno is... I just love this card. It's good in those control matchups because they are so slow and they take such a long time to kill you. And even if they take care of the Chandra Awakened Inferno, they already have the emblem, right? So this is something they can't interact with. You play the Chandra, you uptick it. You ramp it out even earlier. Like so you jam this on turn 4. You jam Chandra Awakened Inferno. They spent their turn doing nothing because they hold up counter magic. Guess what? Chandra Awakened Inferno comes down, can't be countered, takes up. So then if they have cast out, they already have an emblem and it starts ticking down, and dangerously pressures their life total. Okay, so that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed the deck tech, and let's see some gameplay right now. We're gonna play against Senzen In, and we have a decent hand actually, so let's go. Keep it around. We already have double red here, so let's just play Llanowar Elves and say go. Next turn we go Stomping Ground Tap, most likely. Sure, so the question is, do we want to play second Llanowars? I think we do. This could already be a Glorybringer next turn. Sick. That's the explosive starts I was talking about. Ooh, Chandra. Okay, so now we really have a decision to make. I guess I could play Jabari Disruption or Sensor, so I think it's a 4-drop here. So is it Rekindling Phoenix or is it Chandra? But if Chandra upticks, like, this is more proactive actually, because if the Chandra upticks, like, they can have a negate, but it's like if the Chandra upticks to 7, like, we just straight up win the game. 2 mana. Ah, sad. Let's get another damage in with the elves and then pass the turn. See what's up. Dude. Get a bounce. In this case, it's... I think in this case, it's even better. Okay, so that's Sultai, bounce. Only a combo deck plays these kind of things, so I guess we have to hurry up. I want to play it like this, so if we uptick, we also have the chance to hit Bone Crusher Giant, and like this we can cast it. Supreme Will, sure. Let's cast Rekindling Phoenix. Ah, I should have played I should have shocked the land in case they have another Supreme Will. That would suck. Exclude. Holy crap. Okay, so post sideboard we're gonna have a critical mass of uncounterable creatures and planeswalkers. Right, we're just gonna try it again. Look at how much damage these Llanowar Elves already did. Nice. So in case they have something like what the hell? Shepherd Monitor. If you cycle this guy, basic land or desert, put it into play. Not even tapped. And they bounce. Questing Beast is an excellent one. If they bounce it, it's fine because it deals the damage. Rewinding it, huh? Got it. Swinging with the Llanowars. They go Thirst. Like that must be a combo deck of some sort. They play just delay, so they they delay us, they delay us, they delay us, and then at some point they go off with something with a lot of mana. Maybe this is... Do they play the ultimatum or something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 already. So like already 8 lands. Guess I'm dropping Glorybringer. Because if they have a bounce, I don't really care, right? Supreme Will. Okay, so this is very bad. Now Supreme Will. So we should have played the Phoenix here. What are they digging for? I will do this main phase. Because at this point I kind of value 2 damage with the... Anywhere else more? Holy shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The Tyrant Scorner Llanowar. Finally they do something against this. Alright, time for an henge. Holy shit. Sublime Epiphany. I shouldn't have shucked it. I thought I could play the Great Henge. My bad. They're just playing win-con-less counter magic? Or what is this? What are they ramping into? Like, it could be Sultai Ultimatum. The Sultimatum. I'm not really sure what to expect here. Got another Epiphany. You got it. I could have made the mana of the Llanowar Elves and played with this very old land. Playing around Censor, but... I guess... Oh my gosh. Llanowar Elves beatdown. Love it. Please no Shark Typhoon. Back for more. It's also an instant, pretty cool. You are playing a crazy deck, my friend. Okay. Just playing a huge smashing here. X equals 6. I mean, if they have counter magic, they have it, but they showed more creature counter magic in Exclude than any other thing, so I guess I take my shot and try to kill those two. If they have counter magic, we obviously lose, sure. But if you play Elder Gargaroth and they rewind, we also lose, so it's fine. So game 1 down, we get rid of the 5 drops and maybe also 1 henge, I don't really know. A Braid can go for sure. Scoos, I don't know about. I guess you also cut the Scoos. Although the Scoos seems actually pretty sweet. Maybe 1 Scoos. Because they have the back for more and... Could cut 1 henge, actually. Guess the 1-off henge is fine. We're gonna play first. And I like this hand. So we get to do our thing, right? This card is maybe one of the best cards in this matchup for us. Because they can bounce it, but they already did the damage then. And they can't bounce it, right? Because we get to do it again. So now is the question, do you want to save this Rune Blaster? I'm not really sure. I don't think so. Just try to go for it. They showed 3 mana counter spells mostly. And that's just brutal. That's disgusting. Crazy. They bounced the Paradise Druid. Sure. I mean, I'm enjoying myself, right? That's the most important thing. Next turn we get to jam Big Chandra. This should seal the deal. They took so much time last game, so... In case they have Ether Gust, this is still fine, but... As it seems, the Chandra's gonna rule them out. Casting Slow, Thirst for Knowledge. I guess we have to settle things in game 3. Oh, this is the Gearhulk deck. Okay, I see. That's one of their win cons. You got it, you got it. Now I understand. Okay, I guess we don't do anything. Do we do something? Uptick here for sure. I guess we can jam a Glorybringer, it doesn't really matter. They have to do something about it. I don't think they get out of this. They already have 2 ticking emblems. And they get a 3rd one this turn, and this is, they can't interact with the emblem. So this is so good against control, man, the Chandra. With ramp also. Ramping into a Chandra Awakened Inferno against a control deck is very, very strong. Okay. I guess you just keep it like this. There's some incentive to bring in a Braid against the Torrential Gearhulk, right? But I don't want to have that. I'd rather develop my own game plan and strip them off of some of their mana. Yeah, that's a fine hand. It's a fine keep. We could do the whole thing. I really wish there were more like good effects on 4 mana to destroy a land, so make this deck a little bit more consistent, but like right now we don't have a viable option apart from the Rune Blaster and the land, which costs 7. Okay, so this could easily be a counter spell for the Rune Blaster. They don't even have a counter spell for the Rune Blaster. Well, okay, get them off of double blue. I think the green land is more important here. So they do the same thing again. They just bounce the Paradise Druid. Okay, they keep 1 card on top. Yeah, destroying a land is huge here. That's very good. So that's 1 part of the game. So that's 1 point for us. Plus for us. Oh, awesome. Interesting choices here. He's got pro blue. Do I want to get it down right now? Yeah, you just can't get it down right now. They can't even bounce it, man. The other option is play Paradise Druid and Scoos. This exposes me to board wipes, which they might play as well. I think they're holding up some sort of counter magic here. I think I just get down the Shifting Ceratops. So let's attack first, maybe. As I can't really give it haste right now. That should be a big boom for them. So they're expecting to holding up counter magic. So now maybe they Supreme Will, or yeah, they thirst for knowledge. Sure. Discarding the Gearhulk. Because they have the back for more as well. But we stripped them off of green, man. So for now we're safe. Oh, and there's a scoop. Good games. Sweet. So the sideboard. So we showed them the sideboard and they just decided to rather scoop. Pretty good stuff. Sure, let's see if we can take on 1 meta deck as well. So maybe we can snipe a meta deck. So far, we were able to win against like the sweet and spicy brews, but not against the real meta crusher. Alright, we get to play first. We will do that. And I like this hand, so let's keep it around. Against Forget Coon. Nice name. We get the Volcano Mountain. It's a good sign, guys. We already have double green and we have double red, so what could possibly happen, right? So this is Selesnya midrange, presumably. No, I don't want to make this trade. So against this deck we really want to draw the Great Henge, actually, very soon. Just cast a Lovestruck Beast. We found another Chandra. So there's this high risk line where you just go Chandra and down tick on a Llanowar Elves. I kinda like it because you also have the second Chandra. But no, that can't be correct. No, I think it was a bad one because the thing is, if they play Lovestruck Beast just like that, they have another 1-drop in hand. Like they just have to have another 1-drop in hand. Otherwise they don't do that line of play. There's no way they don't have a 1-drop here. Let's be real. Wow, we get max rewarded, man. Crazy. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's quite nice to just do the same thing. Just like, let's down tick on the Chandra. Now we have a 4/4 and a 1/1 to block the Lovestruck Beast, even if they have a 1/1. So I like what's going on, actually. And next turn we can go Kiora into Questing Beast. Can they take the non-token? Okay. Or can they take a token? That was the question. They still can't attack. I love what's going on, actually. I really do. Okay, Fairgrounds Warden number 1 is out. So, feel kinda safe to drop the Elder Gargaroth. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, possibly 8 mana. So, I could just play Kiora into Elder Gargaroth, right? 1, 2, 3, Kiora untap. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, sure, let's do that. I think that's the best thing we can do. Elder Gargaroth comes down and draws us 1. Let's see, if they have another Fairgrounds Warden, then it's actually fine. Ah, no Fairgrounds Warden in there. Ah, goddamn. But no 1-drop, so our Planeswalkers both survive. It's nice. They shock in because they want to eat something. I mean, we're just gonna play a big smashing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, even 9. So let's ramp. And I think I'm gonna kill the Scoos. Man, like, what did they do? Like, they were just going for so much pressure here with just 1 Land of War Elves as a 1/1 into the Lovestruck Beast. So this line was, it was very dangerous to do, but it's like, there was some great upside if they don't have it. So we got max rewarded there. Let's just go for it. And then we get the Fairgrounds Warden and the Scoos down, I think. They eat gain a life, which is absolutely fine. Elder Gargaroth draws us another card, man. So spicy. And there's a scoop. So how good is Ruin Blaster on the draw? I think we just go down to 2 Ruin Blasters maybe. Get in some Abrades. Also go 2 Abrades. Not the Fry. We can go 2 Abrades and Anger of the Gods. This is usually not that bad against this deck because they have the Wardens. That's very relevant. Like, it doesn't get the Lovestruck Beasts, but like basically everything else. And also a Chrome War could be fine. Scoos seems good. Clothis, meh. Maybe Clothis a little bit slow. Why not Chrome War? Seems also decent. Great Henge is awesome. Well, I think we want all the Abrades because they also play Great Henge and we want to be able to deal with that consistently. How good is the Chrome War? Very good, right? The only thing it doesn't hit is the Fairgrounds Warden. If I recall that correctly. Maybe you want to play 2 of those. And then maybe get rid of 1. Maybe we just cut the Ruin Blasters on the draw. And on the play we bring them in. Because on the play they are quite solid. But on the draw, yeah, right now, like in these kind of mid-range, it's about pressure and value. I think we run it like this. We go straight mid-range. And try to go bigger than them and disrupt them in their plan. OP goes first, so this hand seems actually keepable in a way. Kiora into QB, is that ever good enough? It's quite slow, right? So let's maul. This is actually better. Do we ship the Henge or the Phoenix? I think it's the Phoenix that we ship, right? Yeah, we got the Bone Crusher Giant, so this should be maybe fine. This time they play the Heart's Desire first. Oh, second copy of Great Henge. That's so rough. That's so rough. What a bad draw. So we're on mulligan to 5 now. Let's fetch for red. Volcano Mountain always. Well, this is just green lands. Yeah, we definitely get down the Paradise Druid. So no Land of War Elves. No kind of other 1/1s. If you just go land and play the Lovestruck Beast, like we could definitely go for a Chandra. Oh no, we can't because we don't have lands. Lols. Okay, that's rough in a way. So let's just pass the turn with no lands and we're in trouble. Collected Company. Thalia. Wow. I guess we have to kill that Thalia because now we find a Braid. How rough is this? Why don't we find lands, man? I want to play a game of Magic here. Okay, so what are your options? I guess I kill the 1/1. Could just brick wall them for a bit of time. Okay, yeah, now I regret it. Now I should have obviously dropped the Bone Crusher Giant. But there's still a chance. Like I have to kill the 1/1s, I guess. I don't have to do it now, so let's just take 10 damage. If I find a land next turn, I can abrade the other 1/1. Or like I can Chandra down take on the other 1/1. I have to break this, find a land, down take on the other 1/1, and hope they don't have another one. That's my plan. Drawing double henchman and without any other lands. Okay, it's a braid. Sure. No attacks. We're screwed. It's fine. A braid is 3. Ah, now the Fairgrounds Warden, our mana source. Dude! Okay, we're alive. Technically. Now they find a Scoos too. It's like, this game is finally the land. Like, look. You kinda get these games too, right? What can it do? Like, that's the worst possible draw. I don't know. Guess we keep it like this. Sure, we're top heavy and stuff, but you're going first. And again, this hand is so slow. Like, it's got all the goodies, but I don't wanna play this game. I'd rather play this game, I guess. Keeping Volcano Mountain, maybe. No, we have to ship the mountain. We have to ship Volcano Mountain, so it's already a pretty bad sign here to start this game. But we have one Abrade, and if you can get up to 5 mana this time, you're gonna have a chance. Lost Struck Beast. They really like the start, huh? Oh yeah! Finally something good. No blocks, buddy. Thanks. That's a Thalia. Yeah, let's get the QB down. I'm not going to hesitate here. Like, we are on the... They are under some very real pressure. If you can find one more land, we jam a Glorybringer too. Ah, they Skyclave the QB. But now if we Glorybringer the Apparition, we get a 4/4 too, and they take 4 more damage. Tapped land? You serious? Yeah, take another QB, I guess. No attacks. So now I can abrade their Skyclave and Apparition, and they attack with the Thalia into the 4/4. If they so desire to do that, right? This is also a token, so keep in mind that they cannot eat this with another Skyclave Apparition. Let's see. If they find a Fairgrounds Warden in their collected company, this could still work. But otherwise, this is a clean breakfast here. And as long as they just have more Lost Struck Beasts, I think I'm fine. I guess just a Gargaroth might be very nice here. Okay, so let's think about this for a moment. They did not seem to have a collected company, but although they could have one, right? I'm not really willing to just trade a Questing Beast with a Lost Struck Beast, so I think I'm just gonna slam the Gargaroth and pass. If they have Fairgrounds Warden, how does this play out for me? I can't really afford... I don't think I want to afford Glorybringer attacks on the 1/1s here. I could just slam the Glorybringer and attack, though. That's a line I can see. But I think Elder Gargaroth here, being a little bit less proactive and just take it a little bit slower. That's great, because now I want the Glorybringer definitely to take care of the Luminarch Aspirant, making a 6/6. They didn't seem to have any sort of removal here. I don't really want to trade these. Like, it's... I don't want to do that, really. Scoos, can they eat 2 things now? Let's just hope they pass. Nice. That's very nice, actually. Drop down a Questing Beast. Could swing in with the Questing Beast and the Gargaroth, so I trade everything, then I have a Glorybringer, a 4/4 in play. I think I kinda like that. And I get to draw another card. I also could go for a 3/3 here, but I think... How good is the card? I think the card is strong. I think the card is very strong. Better be a good one. Okay, so now we can shoot it in response. They can eat one more thing, but it just makes it a 3/3. Abrade trades it away, and now we find a failed passage. Okay, they have 3 cards. Better be good cards. Another Scoos. Yeah, but this is also just a 4/4. Please no Fairgrounds Warden. Skyclave. Okay, that's also not the end of the world. Okay, so we're still very, very in this game. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's play this. We attack, kill the Scavenging Ooze here. So we have a 2/2 and a Glorybringer, which is tapped down at the moment. We still have our Slumber Mount for next turn. So this is the big turn for them. Like, they get one more turn, I guess. What the hell, man? Another Scoos. It's very strong. It's very, very, very strong. It's quite good. Scoos keeps them alive for so long. Yeah, they're so scared, so they just immediately do that. Maybe we can find a Kiora. Okay, now it's time for the Volcano Mountain, man. Kiora, come on, Kiora, this one time. Yikes! Not a Kiora. Get to eat 3 more things. Wow. Just one Scavenging Ooze is so problematic here. Are they gonna run away with just this one Scavenging? Like, they drew 3 Scavenging Oozes in a row, is that true? 1, 2, 3 Scoozes, man. And how are they so good in this matchup? So we need a Braid from the top. We will definitely eat a green source here with the Slumber Mount. And it's just not enough to kill them. Alright, let's see though. I'm not gonna block here. This is 10 damage. We have to find 2 damage and we win. Come on, Bonecrusher Giant. Come on, Glorybringer. Come on, Chandra. There's so many things. And we find land. This has hexproof, so I think I'm just getting in there, man. They eat 2 more things. They go. So this is 10 damage. They go down. Like, what can they do against the Paradise Druid? I don't think they can do anything about this. Let's just swing in and win in 2 turns. Like, Paradise Druid is hexproof. We can always chomp the Scavenging Ooze and then they can't even attack anymore. But they can take care of the Glorybringer. And now they are 3 life. Interesting game here, man. Fuck. Oh, how did we draw so excellent, man? Ah, and we draw so bad. Okay. Chandra Torture Defiance. Okay, so we swing in with the team. What happens? They take 2. Alright, I can down take on the Fairgrounds Warden. That's enough to kill them, man. Holy shit, what a game here. Okay, so let's figure this. Yeah, sure. Oh my god, nice. Awesome fight. Okay, so finally a good top deck in the end, and we were able to just finish them off. Dang it. And this is like the real power, right, of the deck. That you have value and a lot of pressure, so. But it was like, these games are so decent. Like, it's mid-range against mid-range. Like, every top deck is so significant, and like everything you draw. Like, look at the Scoos. They draw 3 Scoozes, and it was so freaking good. But against us, so we have a lot of ways to deal with Fairgrounds Wardens. So even if they eat a big creature, we're just able to get it back. So great match and good games by the opponent as well. Right, so thanks everybody for watching. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed and liked this content. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like or a comment. And also drop the links to your pet deck list so I can review them and maybe have a look at them because I'm interested, and also maybe I can make 1 or 2 improvements, or you can improve my decks and we can learn from each other, which would be nice. So thanks a lot and have a good day.